you want to speak with us real quick?
No.
The heart of LA's homeless crisis on Skid Row. What's it like out here?
It's nice.
Fun.
It's fun?
Mm-hmm.
Now the center of concerning questions about signature gathering and voter registration.
They're just trying to collect signatures, get paid, and so in return, we'll offer you a few bucks, and there you go on your merry way.
Some say they've never seen it.
Well, no, I've never seen any of that.
It's happening. For sure it's happening.
Others say it happens all the time. How often do you see these signature signer people?
Every day.
People on Skid Row with clipboards accused of offering money or cigarettes in exchange for signing documents.
They will pay you to fill out petitions.
Cigarettes, here you go. Money, here you go.
What kind of stuff do they want you to sign?
Just those are like petitions and stuff like that?
It's like promises like housing or, oh, this is for like a new governor or something like that.
What address do people put on there?
Most people use that just right there.
Do they also try to get you registered to vote?
They can, but that's not bad. That's not a bad thing. But yeah, they have a way to register you to vote.
Earlier this week, Brenda Armstrong pleaded guilty in federal court to paying another person to register to vote, which is illegal. According to her plea agreement, Armstrong spent nearly 2 decades working as a paid petition circulator, oftentimes on Skid Row.
It's the biggest group of mass people, gathered in one place, but also you have the most people who won't do nothing without a dollar because they're half of them on drugs, you know what I'm saying?
Outside LA City Hall, only about a mile away, some people say that they see these signature collectors here as well.
It's you sign, like you're voting.
You gotta sign us this.
So they give you the name to sign?
Everything.
So you're not even giving your own name? According to the California Post, voting records show 1,160 people with a voter registration address here, the Midnight Mission on Skid Row. We asked the LA County Registrar how this could be possible when the shelter has just 120 beds. They say individuals experiencing homelessness may register by identifying a location where they regularly stay.
But they have us like a name already set for us, and they just want the little signature.
So they give you names to sign?
Yeah, a lot of them do.
Federal prosecutors say their investigation continues as questions grow behind some of those signatures.
I think that is stupid because most people here on Skid Row have nothing that they can actually use.
Tonight, it's unclear who's getting these signatures and for what. A whole lot of questions remain. Reporting downtown, Matthew Seedorf, Fox 11 News.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, here we go. Ready to rock and roll again this week. Today is Thursday, June 11th, 2026. Major changes, or maybe just major negotiation strategies in Iran breaking this morning. Probably the number one story in the world right now. What should be the number one story in the world right now, though, is the homeless getting caught. Democrats getting caught. Having votes paid for, stolen, in Los Angeles, something that has proven us to be right. Nobody likes a braggart, but we have been proven to be correct here. We went there 6 months ago, told you exactly what Democrats were going to do. We were ahead of the curve more than any other individual. Thank you for supporting our program. I'm not sure that it did much good because what can men do against forces of such evil? I'm not sure exactly. We're going to talk about it today on the show with Cernovich and Congressman Riley Moore. Trump also announcing major changes in Iran. We'll get to that right off the top of the show. My name is Benny Johnson, and this is The Benny Show. American financing is how you ensure that you have a financial future in this country. We talk about them a lot on this program. Make sure that you're out of high-interest credit card debt and that you are in on a pathway to getting out of debt. The best way to do that is to, well, not be paying so much to service that debt. There's a Fed funds rate, and that rate is what we consider to be fair money. You should get your debt reconsolidated into those rates. American Financing can help you do that. Call today, American Financing, at 888-528-1219. That's 888-528-1219, americanfinancing.net/Benny. Okay, let's hop on in here with the breaking news. I want to talk about Donald Trump this morning and what we learned about a little place called Carg Island. Here you go. Here's Carg. It doesn't look beautiful. Wow. And it looks just so pretty. Carg Island is where 90% of Iran's oil is developed and refined and shipped. So Carg Island, which is temporarily closed, looks like they have a some places, some tourist spots. Look at that. Oil Beach Park we could all go to. Isn't that exciting? Because Donald Trump says he's going to take over this island today. Got some exciting eateries here. There you go. Look at the fun places you could eat. We could all be dining here. Doesn't this look special? That's great. Are those actual human remains? Who knows? Actually looks kind of nice. Okay, well, yeah. It is what it is. People like, look at this. Mike Lee's even there. Mike Lee? Hold on. Wait a second. This just changed. It just changed everything. Anyway, you got Carg Island here. You have, some places to eat, some places to, I guess, take photographs. I don't know. And you can see all the oil refinement. President Trump saying he's taking over a Carg Island today. And that there ain't going to be any more Carg Island for the Iranians. Well, this is a pretty intense escalation. I don't know, man. I'm a dude. I just like maps. You find I find maps interesting. Carg Island is here at the mouth of the Persian Gulf. We have a rule at the show that ALX and I have instituted, which is that we're not going to fall hook, line, and sinker for any more Iran war headlines. We don't want to be clickbait. We're very sorry if we ever come off as that. The goal here is to be ahead of the news cycle, and we'll prove to you that we were ahead of the news cycle this morning. But we're not perfect. And we did buy when the FARS news agency, ALX, am I right here? When the FARS news agency was telling us that there was a peace deal that was about to be signed, and the New York Times and Axios and Wall Street Journal and the White House and President Trump were all saying there's a deal that was about to be signed, and that it was sent over to the Iranians, that it was countersigned, and that it was sitting there on everyone's desk, and there was like 99% done, and everyone was squabbling over the last 1%. And everyone seemed peaceful, and all the people out of Pakistan and all the negotiators out of Abu Dhabi were all good with it. That's when we kind of like went all in and said, yo, look at this. The oil markets are crashing. The stock market is exploding in a good way, not the way that Carg Island is going to explode. You can see here the ship traffic out in the Strait of Hormuz. If you find this kind of stuff interesting, I certainly do. You can see these kind of like here, a good example of like the kind of tankers that have just been stuck in the Strait of Hormuz, which is just this little area. The rest of this is called the Persian Gulf. And right here is Carg Island. You can see there's a tanker right outside of Carg Island right now. There it is. So anyway, you can track this kind of stuff, and you can see what's going on. You can see all the look at the congestion here, right? Looks like the freeway in LA or in Charlotte. What the hell's happened to Charlotte, man? Plenty to say on that, to be honest with you. But so it all has to do with a bunch of people that don't belong here, right? Criminal aliens. And your leaders who hate you. Maybe we'll have time to talk about that on the show. But anyway, we don't want to be clickbait. We've gotten roasted in the comments for bringing you optimistically what everyone was reporting and saying, hey, man, this peace deal is all but done. And boy, were we suckers, because it ain't done. It's not done. Now, interesting activity in the oil markets today. This is oil trading. You can see here that oil has come down, certainly from its peaks, not moderating to where it should be, which is right here. Now, let me tell you where we have got to be for the midterms. And if we're not here for the midterms, I am very fearful, and I'll be angry. So here we go. December 16th, 2025, oil was at $59 a barrel. I keep zooming in incorrectly here. My apologies. So right here, you can see the triangulation. And that's where we need it to be. You know, at $65 a barrel, that equates to $2 gasoline across the country on average. $59 a barrel. I'll take 69 all day. $59 a barrel. Dude, you're talking about less than $2 gas. And that's what we got with our audience. That's what our audience polled at. There were tons of people that were watching our show from Colorado, from Oklahoma, from Texas that were saying, yo, we got $1.79 gas. $1.79 gas. It is $3.17, says Ashley right now in Pennsylvania. What is gas where you live? I deign to say, and I'm very upset that it hovers close to $4 a gallon where I am right now. I can't imagine what it's like in California. I'm heading to Texas tomorrow. Apparently, gas is $3 a gallon in Texas. Yeah, that seemed a little low, Ashley. She says $4.17. Okay, got it. Good job, Ashley. The amazing Ashley is somebody who's awesome, lives on our team, is on our team, lives in Philadelphia, and does Philadelphia levels of math. Yep. Eesh. Yuck. That's right. About $4 a gallon where I am. That's awful. It's awful, and I'm not going to excuse it. And I'm not going to sit there and say that like somehow this is worth it. It's not. Like meaning our movement needs to be about making life better for Americans and doing it immediately. But the Iranians have been dicking around and have been pussyfooting around. And I'm sorry, there's just no other term for it because it's like this yank back and forth and will they, won't they pull. Dude, you're not going to beat Trump in this. And Trump would rather like just like glass factory, the whole place, than come out looking weak. So take the deal. You can see the stock market sort of like, sort of dipping a bit. It's still near record highs. But the American economy is not here for $4 gas. We're here for $2 gas. And we had $2 gas right there. I love this chart because it'll show you exactly where we were. Right there. December 15th was $2 gas, was less than $2 gas in many places. Was it less than $2 gas where you live? I mean, there was many people that were saying, "Yo, it was less than $2 gas." So makes me, I'm upset. We got some commenters here. Here's $5 in Alaska. Goodness gracious, there's so much oil in Alaska. That's a war crime right there. $3 in Indiana. $3 in Columbia, South Carolina. And it's about $5 in Phoenix and $6 gas in California. Goodness gracious. $3 in Texas. Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I'm like, in California, it's not like there's a lot of difference there. It was $6 gas before and after. It was $2 gas here before the invasion in Michigan. Says username 14219. Okay, $3 in Missouri, $6.20 in California right here. Okay, and $3.47 in North Carolina. Dude, if it's $3.47 right now in North Carolina, then you're down to well below $2 a gallon. When this chart crashes, back down. And that's like back to where it should be. But unfortunately, it's right here that is $20 a barrel more than it would naturally be where it should be, where it was hovering around $60 a barrel. And so Trump's pissed. And you can see it. You can see that he's like saying, okay, fine. If peace isn't an option, then you choose death. And you're not going to win with the guy who wrote Art of the Deal. And President Trump is keenly aware of his place in history here and of the Thucydides trap that he's gotten himself into, where he simply has to make the decision to either end it all, like smote Earth. You got to go full dragon in Lord of the Rings and scorched Earth the entire town. What's the name of that dragon in Lord of the Rings, ALX? Not Smeagol. Smog. Thank you. Smog. Yeah, if we go full smog, or they'll be smart and they'll sign a peace deal, which is, of course, what I want and what I think you should want and what everyone should want, because we should be focusing on the betterment of the American people every single day. And the president's administration has done an amazing job on that. And this has been a distraction and an unnecessary distraction. So that's all. Yeah. Thank you, Klein. Yes. So you can go full smog, or you make a durable peace that President Trump can take and stabilize the entire region. Oil flows. This is Carg Island. And the reason why I'm showing you this is because Donald Trump's this morning saying, yo, it's done. We're done. We're done with this. Iran has no Navy, no Air Force, no radar, no aircraft carriers. All forms of defense are gone. Very hard. Tonight, I'm going to hit them. And at some point in the not too distant future, we're going to do boots on the ground invasion of Carg Island. We're going to take their island. We're going to take their oil infrastructure and assume total control over their oil and gas markets, much like we have with Venezuela. which is working out brilliantly for both Venezuela and the United States of America. Thank you for your attention to this matter. Who's still selling Iran munitions is my question. President Trump pulled an alpha move, went to China. Apparently China is not negotiating with Iran and not selling them. China's economy is in complete and total free fall right now. This has not been good for China's economy. I don't think that it is durable or useful for China to continue this war and to help them. Russia, some could argue that maybe Russia's helping smuggle into Iran, but I just don't see a universe where Iran, other than retreating into the caves, can keep this up. Just be smart, dude. I don't. Maybe
doing great.
You don't know Trump the way that we know Trump, but just settle it. That's what we want. President Trump got to hit Iran very hard. Oh, sorry, I didn't know that the gas. Here we go. Let's just do real quick here. $3.67 gas in Central Ohio, says Jay Tires. Gas station gouging. Yeah, maybe it's true. $3.80 in New Orleans. It is $4.43 in Alamonte Springs, Florida. Yep. Ooh, goodness gracious. Blow Iran all to hell. Yeah. I never fill up. I like going to the gas station. Okay. Yeah, yikes, man. Expensive gas in Florida. $4.49 in Tallahassee. Here we go from Rumble from Danny66. January 19th, 2021, gas was $1.88. 6 months later, we had all-time high gas prices. Yeah, it is absolutely and totally unnecessary. According to all available reports, President Trump thought this would be an easy in and out, and it didn't turn out that way. Fine, but now it's got to go. Didn't turn out that way. Okay, now it's got to go. $3.50 in North Alabama. That's terrible. By the way, I wonder where were you living, Danny 066? That you had $1.88. Was it Colorado, Texas? Those were really low gas prices in those states. Those states have great gas taxes or no gas tax. So the gas hovers at record lows in moments like that. It's at $3.50 in Ohio, around $3. Yeah, drill baby drill. That's exactly right. Ooh, wow. It was $1.65 a gallon in Clarksville, Tennessee. Well, this is where we have to get back to. This is where we must get back to. And if we don't get back there by the midterms, we're in trouble. We've got to. So this is why President Trump is saying, I'm just going to take all their oil infrastructure. They're holding the world hostage with the oil infrastructure. We're just going to take it. President Trump confirms he intends to seize Karg Island. Iranian oil infrastructure, F around and find out, is playing out. The reason why we're reporting on this, obviously, if you're saying, oh my gosh, we have Iran fatigue, we're done with this story. The reason why we're reporting on this is that, well, geez, guys, this is a material difference in kind. I thought that we thought that it was all backing out. Rubio said the Iran war is done. The Iran War Powers Act, barely, this would have prevented any further escalation of Iran. That passed the House, but it died in the Senate by, I think, one vote. So prevent Donald Trump from doing anything in Iran. So anyway, this seems like it's going to accelerate. Karg Island is 1/3 the size of Manhattan. It's teeny. It is located in the Persian Gulf. It controls 90% of Iran's crude exports. So Iran just falls, into the center of the earth without it. And that's 2 million barrels a day. Trump specifically says that it would be a Venezuela-style takeover where the U.S. would take complete control of oil and gas. If this happens, it would be the biggest escalation in the Iran war yet. Iran's response? Not sure. We don't know. We'll wait and see. But this would be, pretty big. Do we have the president talking about this morning? Yep. All right. Let's
they
hear.
Can't do it. It's one of those things. They have no defense. They can't do anything about it. The only thing they have is fake news. They have the New York Times write stories like they're doing great, and they're not. They've been wiped out. CNN and that MS Now or whatever they call it nowadays, NBC had to get rid of it because it was bad for their reputation. But the publicity that they have is incredible. It's almost like they're doing well, and they're getting decimated, just decimated, and they're dying to make a deal. They want to make a deal so badly. But, you read the New York Times and you read the Wall Street Journal, which is so fake. I mean, I know you guys own it, but it's a real piece of garbage. And you read the Wall Street Journal, it's like they did an editorial today about we're not hitting them hard enough. I mean, it's just not hitting them hard enough. We dropped $250 million worth of bombs on them last night. The whole thing is crazy. But they're really in submission. They just don't know it yet. Okay, to be honest with you, they just don't know it yet. And we are talking to them and all. But, look, my preference has always been take Cargill Island. That's been, Brian knows that. I spoke to him a long time ago. Lawrence knows it. I spoke to him a long time ago. I said my preference would be that. I don't know that America has the stomach for it, to be honest with you. You make a fortune. But I don't know that America has the stomach. I think they'd like to see us come home. But we did it with Venezuela. Venezuela's worked out great for everybody. We've taken millions and millions of barrels of oil out of Venezuela. We've brought them to Houston and various other places, Louisiana, where refineries that we have that are incredible. They're going 24 hours a day, making a fortune. And, I like that in this case, too. But I'm not sure that America has a long time. It's a little longer process, something that's a guarantee if I want to do it.
Mr. President,
but I'm not sure the country has the appetite for it. Does that make sense to you?
We want the war over, and we want it to be done. So that's all. I just want my fellow Americans to pay the gas prices that we all deserve because we all went through what Joe Biden did and we all witnessed what happened over the last couple of years. It was excruciating. This administration should be set for bringing the federal government and its spending under control, bringing prices of homes, groceries, and gas under control, making life better for every single American, not for meaningless countries in the Middle East. And so that's what we advocate for. We do so from inside of the tent, not being psychotic lunatic bomb throwers from outside the tent, blackpilling all day for clicks. I think it's a horrible way to work. I think it's an awful way, to do any type of business in any relationship. Think about your marriage. Think about your friend or your buddy. If your buddy's made a bad decision, you go to them in love. You might need some tough love, but you talk with them through it. You do it in good faith. It's the same thing with your marriage. If you want your marriage to get destroyed, start cheating. Start throwing things. Picking up everything and chucking it out the window. That's what a lot of commentators have done, and to their own humiliation. It's been embarrassing, honestly, to watch. And the crash outs have been sad because what are you telling me that Kamala Harris would be better? Are you joking? If it was Kamala Harris, we'd be at war with 5 different countries right now and surrendering to all of them. No, it wouldn't be better. I want this war to be over. I want it to be over. But to tell me that somehow Kamala, you wish Kamala would have won, then I don't take you seriously anymore. Now I disregard your opinion forever. That's it. The end. Okay. Because for you to say that you want Kamala to win, you would want to be okay with this. This is us 6 months ago. We went to Los Angeles. I hate going to Los Angeles. It smells like human feces. It's bad for the soul. It smells like piss. It smells like urine everywhere and weed. It's hard to look at. It's hard to live in. I get sick every time I go out there. I don't know how anybody lives it. It's just terrible. But we exposed the homeless crisis in Los Angeles and what it's good for. So what is the homeless crisis used for in Los Angeles? Because they're not trying to solve the homeless crisis. They're trying to create more homeless people. You can see that as evidenced by empirically, all of their policies are to put as many homeless people on the street as possible. Why? Why do that? Well, we exposed it in our documentary and we told people, check the timestamp, we told them they're using the homeless crisis to rig American elections. Wow. We posted this on February 1st, 2026. We filmed this 2 weeks earlier in January. So our instincts were right over the target. Of course, Gavin Newsom savagely and viciously attacked us because we were over the target. That's when they always attack you. And, well, lo and behold, were we correct? The thesis was very simple for us, and we just want to thank James O'Keefe for coming in over the top and helping us as well on this, in this case.
We're learning more about the
which James O'Keefe pivoted off of our reporting and then put cameras inside of Skid Row. And what did we find? Exactly what we said. That they're paying homeless people to register to vote. That they're using those votes and they're manipulating those votes. They're paying for them. And that ballot harvesting is totally legal. You can pay people to go ballot harvest. Homeless people can register from anywhere, a toilet. They can register from a city block. They can register from the dumpster behind Burger King. And that, given the fact that there's no signature verification, registration from anywhere, anyone, no checking of the backgrounds, no checking of who's delivering all the ballots, that of course the systems are entirely rife for pure and total fraud and fraudulence, and that's exactly what we got. James O'Keefe got the actual criminal behavior on camera. The DOJ has prosecuted Brenda Brown for paying homeless people to register to vote under false addresses. Well, it gets worse, ladies and gentlemen, because as we watch the numbers roll in, is this really the update here? Let's load this just one more time. Let's see. Man, there's only 3,000 votes separating Spencer Pratt from Nikki Rahman. Only 3,000 votes? Man, a white boy can dream. I don't know, man. Very interesting. The only reason it's even close, though, is because of these areas. The blue, the turquoise is Nikki Rahman, and you can see she's crushing, just crushing in all of the homeless encampment areas. This is Skid Row right here. Nikki Rahman's doing so well in the homeless encampments. They have all these homeless, this is where the famous homeless skyscraper is. The sick little truth about all this is that the federal government pays for it. The federal government is paying, you are paying for California to rig their elections. They couldn't build any of this stuff without federal financing, without HUD financing. The homeless encampments are paid for by Housing and Urban Development through these massive grants. And it's something we need to talk more about because the Trump administration could really, truly put a grinding halt to it. But look at how Nikki Rahman, she doesn't win her own district. She doesn't win her own precincts. She only wins the downtown homeless encampments. Oh, it's so cringe and embarrassing and sad. And now look at that. Brother, can you spare a Dem? Skid Row homeless claim they illegally took cash to vote for Bass. We have all of the videos. Alex, do you have that supercut that you made yesterday? Give me the supercut, please. I want the quick and clean one. Okay, pop it up. Because all it took, I got the New York Times and the LA Times in my inbox. Where's your evidence? Where's your evidence? Here, why don't we do this live on the show? Here's my evidence, jackasses. Here's the evidence.
Did you vote for Karen?
Yeah, they had to sign a little thing.
And how much they pay you?
It was like $2.
$2? Oh, to sign off on a thing to vote for her?
Yeah.
And so they do this for everybody out here?
Yeah, they come out here all the time.
Yeah, but that was for Karen Bass.
Oh, so $2 to vote for Karen Bass on a mail-in ballot?
Yeah.
And then you send it in? They took
it in the box.
Oh, and then you drop it in the box?
Yeah.
And they do this for a lot of people out here?
Yeah, everybody's going to get, a little come up, man, you know?
Did they come down here and try and pay you to vote?
Yes.
On a ballot?
Yes.
Oh, how much they pay you?
$5.
Oh, and they said, here, come and vote for these candidates?
Yes, sir.
No, but they do come down here and do voter fraud.
They do?
Yeah, they come down here and they get your information, and then they vote for you.
So they get all the information from people on the street or whatever, write it down, and then they go in and vote for them.
But they'll pay you too. So it's like some people will give you $3, some 5, straight up.
Hey, you registered to vote? You want to vote? And then if you're not, they'll either offer to get you registered to vote, or
they're just admitting it.
Signatures for basically petitions at that time.
Yeah, $3, $4, $5. You will sell your kingdom. Sell your kingdom for $2 piss-soaked, homeless, junkie votes. That's the way that California's gone. Spencer Pratt calling it out. From 1,000 yards away, 43,000, huh? Wow. Where have I seen that number before? Net swing of 43,000 votes for Nikki Rahman since Tuesday, since election night. Well, here's the website that Nikki Raman runs because she's in charge of LA's homeless crisis. That's literally in her portfolio. 43,000 people experience homelessness every single night. It's like experiencing a meteor shower or a sunset. It's totally out of your control. And look at this, Nikki Raman. What is in her control is she's funding it. You can see she's giving hundreds of thousands, ultimately hundreds of millions of dollars to fund more homelessness in LA. So that's the ecosystem. This is how it works. And we've seen it on full display. Here is your LA voter. This is it. This is the picture of what will take over Los Angeles. They'll just keep pumping more homeless people into LA. The entire city will collapse under the failure and the weight of all of this. We pray that doesn't happen. Steve Hilton is now banging the drum that he's going to be running with Spencer Pratt, and that he maybe is bringing on Spencer Pratt in some type of official role. Well, that would be awesome. We'll be in California later this month, and we hope to see both of these men and maybe confirm on the record, doing interviews. We have interviews locked in with both of them, and so let's hope and pray that happens. The only way to make California golden again. If you want to make your portfolio golden, go to Advantage Gold. You can lock in your IRA or 401k today with an allocation in precious metals. Great time to buy gold right now. There's a dip in all markets, but it is a wonderful time to make sure that you are diversified into precious metal assets. Paper, Fugazi, is worthless as what it's printed on. And that's just the test of time, man. The reason why billionaires buy real estate and precious art and actual commodities. Make sure that you are a part of the class of people that understand the value in that. Ladies and gentlemen, Advantage Gold is the top-rated precious metal company. Right now, they're giving away a free gold investment kit. Text Benny to 85545, BENNY to 85545. No cost, no obligation, no pressure. Do it today. Let's bring on the pressure for the California elite from a man who lives in California, has been fighting the good fight for almost as long as I've been alive in that state, and he won't leave. He's a California maximalist and a very wise man, and we don't have many of those, frankly, in this movement. His name is Mike Cernovich. Live now. Hey, Mike, welcome back to the show. I love it when you join from the Cigar Club. Is this the Cigar Club?
No, I just did my home office. I remodeled my home office. Remodeled might be over. I decorated it.
Pretty impressive home office, man.
Yeah. This is the... although I was a little bit ahead of the curve, and now on Instagram, I see this color scheme everywhere, and I go, man, I'm annoyed because I was early to it, but now it looks like I just copied some Pinterest board on Instagram. What are you gonna do?
What's the take, man? What's the take on California and what's happening? Like, what? Like, is it just pay the taxes, bro? Like, they'll just cheat and it's it's fine. Like the weather's great. Like, who cares? Like, what is it?
Well, the number one reason I always tell people about California, if they can't understand it, one is California is not a monolith. The Los Angeles is not the same as Carmel by the Sea, or San Francisco is not the same as Santa Ynez or San Luis Obispo. There's so much more going on in California. California is quite rural, more Republicans in California than any other state. Although people will go, well, per capita, let's not pretend like we don't understand per capita. We're not the side that doesn't understand per capita here. But in terms of absolute numbers, more Republicans than anywhere. And honestly, I was in Texas, lovely place, 103 degrees at night. Florida, beautiful state, flat, very hard to do hills in Florida, and the humidity is a killer. So there's no Shangri-La, right? We're not in the Garden of Eden. That's the lesson of Genesis, is that we were expelled from the Garden of Eden, and we do the best wherever we end up.
So what is the solution here in Los Angeles? I mean, maybe you could check me on this. We have footage of a bunch of homeless people saying they were paid to vote. We have people going to prison, pleading guilty for paying homeless people to vote. We've been calling this out as the Achilles heel to a safe and secure election, along with a bunch of other rules in Los Angeles. And people are angry about it, but is that just the way it's going to go until, I don't know, the Supreme Court steps in? Like, I don't, they'll just figure out a new way to rig it. But is that just assumed that that's just the way it's going to happen in LA from now on?
Well, people, the taking it away from Spencer after the fact shocked even people. Do you read Elizabeth Barr? I forget how to say her name, but she's with the California LA GOP. She and Roxana, Jennifer, who's at Red State, have been there forever. They can go into the weeds on this stuff, and there have been some very great explainers on how the vote rigging is so sophisticated. What you can do is you can register 10,000 druggies and then have their ballots shipped to your NGO, and then have them put a little X for a signature or a squiggly line for their signature, and then you get their ballots forever. And then it's illegal under California law to audit it. That you can't ask for voter ID. So they're like the California unions that stole the election for JFK in the 1960s. It's the ballots go to these NGOs. And again, there's no way to audit it. You would just say, well, how many ballots are going to a certain address? There's all these ways that you could prove it, but under law, you can't even ask for that. You can't demand that information. You can't audit. You can't inspect a ballot. So people are definitely, they're surprised by the after the fact it going for the third place finisher. People knew there would be shenanigans, but I think it's interesting, and everybody thinks it's interesting because the argument is always, well, Democrat ballot drops after the fact, mail-in balloting is always going to favor the Democrat. And you go, but yeah, why is it favoring the third place Democrat though? Right? The third place Democrat who is crying on election night. And I've seen people try to nitpick you and others and go, fact check, she didn't concede. People can argue that all day. But the point is, she thought she had lost. Okay? She thought she had lost. Everybody witnessing it thought she had lost. And then suddenly she has just enough ballots to take second place. And then, of course, the AP calls the races immediately. They called the race for Karen Bass immediately, right? She's 4 points ahead. Oh, she's the clear winner. But they don't call for anybody else.
I got so annoyed yesterday with people trying to nitpick that. Like, a winning candidate doesn't start sobbing and blubbering about her family and her voters and her supporters and how she failed them in her election night victory speech. That's not the winning candidate. I've been doing this for longer than most of these like Johnny come latelys, and that's not how a winning candidate engages in their election night speech. Okay, if you want to be victorious and you want to fight on, great. But if you're going out there to sob and wipe your in like runny mascara, you're the loser. That's what you're saying with that performance. So,
right, but then they nitpick you and they say, well, she didn't technically concede. It honestly, it weighs on me, but I think the big lesson here is you got to have infrastructure. Spencer Pratt did better than most people thought he could. Karen Bass was afraid of dealing with him for the next 5 months, even though she still probably would have won.
Yeah, but the machine would have had to work extra hard and would have been exposed. Nikki Rahman's part of the same machine.
And they couldn't deal.
It's like these jackasses, these guys on CNN are like, no. They wanted Spencer Pratt to win. What are you talking about? They didn't want Nikki Rahman. Shut up. They're like Nikki Rahman manages the homeless crisis. Her and Karen Bass are part of the same team. She'll probably bring Nikki Rahman into her administration. They're protecting the same failed policies because they're part of the same failed policies. The last thing they want is a Trumpian-style outsider to come in and to start exposing those failed policies, especially if he has a chip on his shoulder and a great origin story.
No, the media narrative on this is quite tedious. And it's why I don't even talk about the media narrative, because it's completely absurd to say that Bass wanted to run against Pratt. This is absurd because Pratt highlighted the issues. He had momentum going. Now that by taking the election or stealing it or rigging it or whatever people want to call it, attention's going to move away. Enough attention, though, was focused on what happens when Democrats take control, which is you never have another free and fair, right? That's a great cliche. You never have another free and fair election once Democrats take a supermajority. So all of it, I watched your segment earlier about people, a lot of people have a problem with this war. A lot of people like me said, you got about 2 weeks, you better make something happen in 2 weeks. After that, I'm not going to go against it, but I'm not going to pretend, right? I'm not going to play these games. But you can't say, well, we should want Democrats to win the midterms. We should want Democrats to win. And then you complain about California. What the world is going on here? I saw Trump's
that's exactly
tweet
right.
that you were responding to with Carg Island and everything. Who knows? The market hasn't crashed, so I don't think the market is necessarily taking that literally. But this is what you have. You have Democrat supermajority, and you either have Karen Basula, who is a communist who I believe is in Cuba. She had these connections to actual, because commie gets tossed around as a label. Oh, you're some commie, but she's an actual revolutionary communist. And what the world we're in. So you either have her or you have the next wave of Democrat Socialists of America. That's your choice in a supermajority.
I don't
supermajority, yeah.
I don't take anybody seriously that says, "Oh, I would have preferred Kamala Harris." I don't.
Right.
I don't.
Or even that you regret it. Yeah, I don't want to hear. I don't want to hear any of that. I'm so. I get it. Trump made. I understand all this, right? But you look at it today. The Federal Trade Commission, or one of the regulatory bodies, has now pulled funding from one of these homeless NGO scams. You had Doge. There's a lot of huge wins. Trump tried to do the weaponization fund. He tried to get people, J6s, paid, and then other Republicans in the Senate block him. So rhinos in the Senate block good things that Trump wants to do, and the solution is to give Democrats a majority. It's very incoherent.
No, it makes no sense, and it's why we keep losing. I think that some people, I mean, I got to be honest, Cerno, I've been doing this for a long time. You've been doing this for longer than me, much longer than me. But I believe that some people either, one, are intent on helping the left, and then to break up the coalition of the right, and it'd be genius. It's genius strategy to see the winning coalition that was built and held together in great part by Charlie and by Elon and by RFK and the Tulsi wing and all these various coalitions coming together to win and win demonstrably on election night, all 7 swing states and so on. The strategy to break that apart and to chop, to chunk off pieces of that with a chisel, and just hammer at that as hard as you possibly could. It's a genius strategy. Either some commentators on our side are knowingly working with the left in order to do that. Like that's what they're excited about doing that and helping leftists because that's what this is what you're doing. Or I think it's like much easier clicks to go against whatever the establishment is. So whatever even if the establishment's Republican and is the most popular Republican, the easiest click ever is to go against that and to be a contrarian. And some people are just so steeped in contrarianism that they don't know how to win. So they'll just they'll fight against whoever is in power. And while again, it's an easy way to get views, it's a really bad way to save a country, especially when you have power.
Yeah, there's some people who are idealistic, and then it's like growing up and realizing that the world isn't idealistic, and you have to make a bundle of choices, often based on lesser evil thinking. I got in trouble, and quote unquote in trouble, with a lot of the conservatives who I like and agree with, but I said, kind of in frustration, but mostly serious, which is that I've seen the biological clock run out of so many men and women at this point. I just think you should just have a kid, right? And then immediately, the nuclear marriage is like the only way to have a kid. And I go, man, you think I don't talk about this stuff? Has that worked? More abortions than ever. This isn't an effective message. We all know, obviously. And what people don't get is the culture is so broken. We're in a lesser evil kind of situation where people are missing out on the joys of parenthood. because they think there's something better, or they think their situation isn't perfect. I hear it from men and women too, the black pilling from the men about what women are going to do and how awful it is. And then you hear from the women about how bad the men are, and a kid is interrupting things and everything else. But you have to deal with the world as it is. And in politics, you have to deal with the situation as it is. You have a bunch of rhinos pushing for new wars. You have FISA, which I don't support FISA being reinstated, but renewed, but they're going to block Pulte if they don't get FISA. So it's so weird. And you go, wait a minute, if FISA is so important, then why would you condition Pulte's nomination on FISA? And you realize that that's what Trump is still dealing with. His first term, he never stood up to the Senate at all and got rolled. And this time he has stood up to the Senate. And they're going to throw their little tantrum. So as much as we might disagree with a lot of things Trump are doing, you have to zoom out and think, well, what would be the alternative reality? The alternative reality would not be utopia or someone better. The alternative reality would be California. It would be a Democrat super majority. So as bad as things are, it would be so much worse. Not a little bit worse, but we're talking 3 times to 10 times worse.
You're only there helping the left. And I've taken account of the people who are doing it. I don't understand why. Sometimes you're never going to agree with someone 100% of the time. But it is very important to know what we're standing against. And I think people have really lost sight of that. It's amazing how quickly that happens. What you're standing against is what Mike Cernovich lives through in California. California still is an incredible state. I have 5 million Republicans in California. I just don't want them to be disenfranchised, Mike. That's all. I just feel like it's a human rights question. I feel like it's unconstitutional what happens to Republicans and their votes in California. It makes me sad, quite frankly. But the Trump administration tells me, the Trump campaign told me that the most merch they sold was in California. And the Temecula Valley voted more for Trump than the most red county in Florida. So there's a ton of patriots in California. I just want to save them. You know what I mean? So we'll see what happens with Steve Hilton. And we look forward to Mike Cernovich.
People should go interview Temecula people.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I'll be out in California later this month. I hope that we can get together. I really want to go to your cigar club. And I look forward to the eventual Cernovich gubernatorial run that I know must happen in my lifetime, as it has been foretold.
0%.
Everybody follow Mike Cernovich. Millions already do. He's a man who's saying and fighting, and this honorable. And so Godspeed, Mike. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, Representative Riley Moore is locked and ready to join the program, and we're honored to have him. Here we go. Hey, Riley Moore. Now, Riley is my wife's maiden name, so I assume that you're Irish.
You got it. Yeah, Riley is my grandmother's maiden name, so that's how I got it.
All right. Okay. What's going on in Northern Ireland, man? And how can we prevent that from happening in this country? Why does it only ever happen in European Christian countries that the native populations get replaced by their globalist leaders? It doesn't happen in Muslim countries, bro. It doesn't happen in Israel. It ain't happening in Israel. Okay.
No.
It doesn't happen in China. And thank God they're not letting it happen in Japan, even though they started to. But why does it just happen in places like Northern Ireland or here in America?
Well, look, this is nothing new, as you know, Benny. This has not been going on for tens of years, hundreds of years. This has been going on for over 1,000 years. And there's been many different iterations of Islamic populations trying to push their way into Europe forcefully, obviously, historically. Now the West is just doing it to themselves, right? Yes. Just like a suicide pact to be replaced. So you got this terrible event in Northern Ireland where individual was almost decapitated by a Sudanese refugee, whatever that means, in Belfast. And so now this has led to riots through the streets of Belfast. And the actual interesting thing is that you are seeing some cross-communal conversations, particularly specifically amongst the Protestants and Catholics, where that at times That was the conflict. But I think at least some are coming together and seeing this as a kind of civilizational threat to their own community there. They're at least, yes, one's Protestant, one's Catholic, but they're both Christian. And then you got these third world guys doing third world things in your first world country. Doesn't seem that surprising to me.
You're a member of Congress. You represent West Virginia, so it's like a very red state, but there are plenty of Republicans from, well, every state in the union, and none of them, along with the Democrats or any elected official anywhere, has ever put to the American people, here's why third world migration benefits you. That conversation has never been had. Am I wrong there, Congressman?
No, you're not wrong. And I mean, think about it like this. And you and I have talked about this previously, the plight of the Christians in Nigeria. So who in our government made a decision at some point, said, okay, we need immigrants from Africa. That's what this country needs. And they're looking at a map and they decide, not the Christians in Nigeria. How about the guys from Black Hawk Down? Let's take those folks. Who you know, and look, I'm not
ISIS runs Somalia. It's time to put them together. We've done our research here. ISIS runs Somalia. When you're bringing Somalis over, you're bringing in ISIS.
Correct.
ISIS runs Sudan. That's a fact based on the United Nations and multiple charter organizations. These are hotbeds for ISIS. So when you bring people in, you're bringing in ISIS into your community. Do you want to live next to ISIS is the question.
Yeah, and my point being is that
sorry for the interruption.
It's deliberate, right? We got Christians in Nigeria, and look, I am not for mass migration into this country. That's not my point here, but my point is that someone made a deliberate choice in between, I don't know, some very oppressed groups such as Christians in Africa and said, nah, I just watched Black Hawk Down. Those guys seem cool. Bring them in. We'll take the ISIS crew. It doesn't make any sense. Like, why?
You're right. You're exactly
if you're
right.
making a choice that we're bringing in people from Africa, how did you settle on that?
What recourse do we have? We have some of the B-roll here, and nobody wants violence. Nobody wants, people to have their homes burned down. But at some point, you have a group of people who are native to the land and their ancestors built it, and without their permission, and that's what I think is so important. It's not like some referendum passed to bring the whole of Somalia or Sudan into Northern Ireland. They just did it. Nobody asked permission. Nobody put it to a referendum. It is one of the most agreed. It's not a republic if that's the case, because this is fundamentally, it's not like a penny tax. This is fundamentally changing the lives and could take your lives. People don't want their daughters walking the streets these days. Like the nations that their grandfathers, that was the promise, right? So there's plenty of veterans in West Virginia. West Virginia, I think, has some of the highest percentages of veterans in the country.
It does.
The promise there for them and their grandpappies was that you go over and you die on a beach somewhere and we'll have peace in our time. We won't have to fight them here. Yet not you, sorry, Riley, but like the politicians brought the war to us.
Yes.
First off, what a violation of my grandfather and their sacrifice. Both my grandfathers were World War II veterans. I'm sure yours were too.
Yes.
Like, what a violation of that promise and their sacrifice of spitting on their graves and every World War II veteran's grave. But then suicidal, as you put it, to bring the fight to us in our streets. It's insane.
Yeah, and we, just to go back to the Northern Ireland example, just think about this. So 2005 is when they have disarmament. Everybody lays down their arms, that terrible conflict that went on in Northern Ireland for a very long time, which is still part of the United Kingdom. And that's why you're having this mass influx, because it's following British policy, right? This is what the Brits do. And it's like, okay, we're about 20 years out from a really bad civil war where thousands of people died. Let's bring in some third world migrants. What could go wrong? Like, it's insanity. It's absolutely insane.
We haven't done a ton of studying of Sudan, but you can go through and read the UN reports on what's going on in Sudan. I use the UN not because I like the UN, but because libs will like believe everything that the UN says. So why not just like go as far as I possibly can into their camp to make this point? The UN says that the vast majority of violence in Sudan, and the guy who tried to behead the Englishman is Sudanese, the vast majority of violence is ethnic. So they're going after other ethnicities, right? Now, these are like different tribes. There's not a ton of white people in Sudan, I don't think. I mean, maybe none. But they're going after different tribal differences of different clans and people. And so that's what sparks all the death in Sudan. And Sudan is the most violent country on earth. And so you take someone who is from a place with extreme ethnic violence and you put them in this target-rich environment where everybody has an ethnic difference. And like, what do you think? Do you think it's magic? You think you just wave a wand? It seems like the rules of physics, mathematics, statistics, the laws of nature just like don't apply to these people. It seems intentional, I guess.
Well, and don't forget, flash back to the Obama era, George Clooney, Darfur. There's a genocide in Darfur. This is terrible. We gotta create a new country, South Sudan, so these folks aren't killing each other. And then it's like just decades of some of the worst violence you could think of, and they're like, bring them over here. That'll work out. That's a good idea. Let's get them over.
Yeah, that's right. Not to Lake Como though, where George Clooney lives.
Yeah,
don't bring them. Don't bring them to northern Italy. Whatever you do, don't make the migrant shelter.
They don't want to live around lakes. It's
yeah, that's right. Goodness, I mean, like it's so obscene. How do you prevent it in America? I feel like we're not as far along as Europe. How do you prevent it here?
Well, I mean, and look.
Maybe we are. I don't know.
We are. And you know, the president has been really hard on this immigration policy that I think is, for the first time in who knows how many decades, actually stopping this process of just bringing some of the worst actors into our country and just allowing them either to come over the border. I mean, you remember under Biden, it wasn't just folks from Latin America. You had people from all over the world on the southern border because it was wide open and just letting people come right into our country. But the president has sealed that border. Not only that, he's now looking very hard at H-1B visas, which to me, we can't get our eyes off of that problem. Legal immigration is a problem in this country, just so much so as illegal. So the president has actually turned the tide on this, which I know many thought was going to be impossible to do. But in his term, the border wall will be done. It will be third redundancy down there in terms of border wall, in terms of the different barriers that are going to be put up. The immigration policy of this country has been turned around. So it is changing, but you got to remember, they let in millions of people into this country who we don't know who the hell they are. So we have to stay vigilant, even in our own homeland here.
Just couldn't. I couldn't believe. I mean, you want to talk about a historic white pill? The fact that like a Somali refugee wasn't allowed into the country made me chuckle. Actually, like it really like it made me chuckle, and not like I don't know the guy. I don't care about soccer, but that's the damage, frankly, that like the plundering and looting of the Somali refugee community has done. I hope you got it great. I hope you enjoyed your time, because what you've done is you've blackpilled people in this country against the style of migration that you need to keep perpetuating, like your frauds. Like,
yes,
you went too far, right? And people are now well aware of what's going on. And man, there was no outcry when they banned the Somali referee. There was no like. Everyone was like, good, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, well, because we've uncovered all of their
not one more.
Yeah, all the nonsense they've been doing. I mean, essentially, our tax dollars, and we're looking into this, have arguably been funding terrorist organizations back in Somalia.
Of course,
right? So, I mean, it's people have had enough. They've had enough of this, and they're doing it with our tax dollars, and they're stealing our money. So it's like, not only have they come here, won't assimilate to our culture, won't be part of this country, but they're also stealing our money. and they don't even work.
Do we get rid of the Hart-Celler Act? I mean, what there needs to be some type of, I think, legal remedy here.
Yeah, obviously there needs to be some long-term legal remedy here. And I know people have talked about getting rid of Hart-Celler. I'm for whatever we can do to move the ball down the field on this, whatever that is. If it's getting rid of it, amending it, whatever, I'll take whatever I can get at this point.
Are you in favor of the bill to ban dual citizens from serving in Congress?
Yes. Yeah, I don't. You can't have a dual loyalty. I mean, you are serving in this body in Congress, no dual loyalty. And the interesting thing about that is people who have been supportive of that legislation. Bernie Moreno, who is the senator from Ohio, who was actually born in Colombia. He is the one who has been pushing this on the Senate side. He understands this. And for some reason, there's people born in this country that want to allow for dual loyalty. No, not for that.
No, it's completely suicidal. What are your hopes for the way that this Iran war wraps up and we get back to focusing on wins for America domestically? What do you see going on there?
Yeah, look, obviously this is a difficult conflict to wrap up. There's no doubt about that. But the first step in this process is reopening the Straits of Hormuz, and then we will move our naval blockade back. If they reopen the Straits, then we get into the dust for dollars aspect of this deal, where it's nuclear material that is returned will then unlock dollars for the Iranians in terms of sanctioned dollars and frozen accounts. But you can move that dial up and down, and we can certainly pressurize them. And look, force is always going to be, kinetic force is always going to be on the table in terms of those pressurizing mechanisms in terms of preventing them from getting a nuclear weapon. But yeah, I think, look, everybody wants this thing to come to an end, a peaceful end, and where we don't have an Iran that can threaten this country and the rest of the free world with nuclear weapon. But we also need the Straits of Hormuz open back up. And that's kind of one of those confidence building measures, first step in the process, kind of first principle to be able to resolve this conflict is for the Iranians to show that they are willing to work with us by reopening that and getting that oil flowing once again in commerce through the Straits.
I just want to stop talking about it. like I just do. There's a lot of problems in this country, and there's an important there's this vanishing window to fix them, and so I want this to be the focus. But sadly, it was just like every day is precious in an administration where you have somewhat unified control of the House and the Senate and the chief executive and even the Supreme Court. And distractions are not welcome, and it's made me angry and frustrated, honestly.
Technically, we got unified support of the government, but for me, I think the president's right. Either whether it's a full removal of the filibuster or partial, where it's like we're just doing it for appropriations bills, whatever. Because I'm going to tell you what, when the Democrats get in charge, it's gone. This is self-inflicted. We're doing this to ourselves. They're going to get rid of it. At some point, they'll have unified government, unfortunately. At some point in our lives, it's going to happen. We should remove that, at least to be able to get these spending bills done. I mean, finally, we were able to pay for ICE and CBP and HSI, but I mean, we went through this whole process of this reconciliation and everything else when it should be going through the appropriations process. But yeah, why we haven't done that, I have no idea, but mark my words, they get the Senate, it's gone.
Just really quickly here, since you do serve in this body and it must be very frustrating for you, John Thune, like, what the hell's going on there? Man, I've never seen somebody make so many enemies so quickly. And I guess he should have known that the pump was primed because his mentor was Mitch McConnell. And he covered up for Mitch McConnell for a long time. We've been warning against John Thune just based on that and some of the behavior that we've seen online. And we were right. And it just seems like that guy has blown up any goodwill that he could possibly have. Like, how frustrating is it to work with the Senate?
I get people ask me all the time, what's going on? How come you guys can't pass anything? News reporters around this Capitol. I'm like, look, the House is held hostage to the inaction of the Senate. We can pass things over here. We do all the time. We pass things, we send it to the Senate. We've already sent 2 appropriations bills to them, and then they've come out and said, we're not even going to meet the Appropriations Committee in the Senate. So we are literally held hostage to their own inaction, which is, it's very frustrating because, as I think everybody knows, we have a very thin margin over here, but we're able to kind of circle the wagons and get it done.
Aren't they Republicans? Shouldn't they be burning the midnight oil in order to get?
And what they'll say is, oh, well, the filibuster. And the filibuster is a rule. It's not a law. And rules are adopted by the majority, and they can be changed. They can be amended. And so, to me, time to fix it. One way or the other, figure it out. But we're running out of time.
Yeah, that's right. John Thune, I think, is running out of time, man. I think he's burned through any goodwill he could possibly have, and is in now a really tough situation. We'll see.
Now I gotta mention something for you. You're gonna love this. So the last time I was on your program, we were talking about Tallarico. I called him demonic, which I stand by that statement. They can replay that whenever they want. And then due to that interview with you, the SPLC has come out and called me a Christian supremacist.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Wow. That's great because Christ is king, and
Christ is king.
That's our religion. So got us.
Yeah, you got me. So that's the footnote on it of why I'm a Christian supremacist. Was a Benny Johnson interview. So
well, fantastic. If I ever need a Klan robe or a cross to burn, I know who to hit up for the funds for that. The SPLC, because apparently, according to the DOJ filings, they're paying for it. They're just handing them out left and right.
I know, right?
They're gonna start their own Klan hood Walmart filled with crosses and gasoline. No, read the filing. It's insane what they were paying for. Millions of dollars for Klan hoods. Got it. Okay. Well, they did the meme. Yeah, they did the meme. Good job, SPLC. Fantastic. You have become your own worst enemy. It's fun to see that happen, and
I love watching it happen.
Yeah, I like that there's I like that there's a supply and demand shortage of actual hatred in this country. I want to keep it that way, and so that's what we're fighting for. Thank you very much, Congressman.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Everybody follow a great congressman from West Virginia, and a beautiful state. I hope to be back there sometime. We had we went and did a coal mine documentary a couple of years ago, and I've been itching to get back to West Virginia ever since. So
hey, we're gonna build a new coal-fired power plant. We just announced that last week. So
really,
very excited.
Oh, that's awesome. Well, thank you, Congressman. Godspeed.
Hey, thank you. God bless.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not sure if you want coal under your Christmas tree or in your wallet, but would a piece of coal even fit in your wallet? I'm not sure. If you have the Rumble wallet, though, you'd be able to get all types of things in there. You can get stable coins, crypto coins, dollar-backed coins, gold-backed currency in your Rumble wallet. You should download Rumble Wallet today. You can follow the QR code right here. Great place to tip your favorite creators. Fast, secure, puts you in control of your money. You can take control today with wallet.rumble.com. That's where you go. You get the terms there. You can download it. Of course, the QR code is right there. And make sure that you are supporting the alternative economy that makes free speech possible. Okay. We are wanting to end the week, I guess, on a positive note. Let's go ahead and do the, what did I just see here? Carmelo Anthony gets roasted, right, for his brand new fit. They shaved Carmelo Anthony's head and then tossed him in jail. Boy, I love the way that Texas does things. You know, remember how Jussie Smollett was able to like pretty much live in a penthouse for months and weeks and years, even after like being found guilty. Jussie Smollett was able to like while out and yell, and dance, and like give speeches in the courthouse. Yeah, they tried to do this with Carmelo Anthony, and they arrested his ass after he was found guilty. His public defender was like, "Oh, please." Carmelo Anthony was shaking and crying and sobbing and tremoring in such a way that he was like being disruptive to the court. And so his public defender, this is my favorite story of the week. Public defender was like, "Can we just get a moment?" And the judge is like, "No, he's been found guilty of murder. He is now in control of the sheriff, and the sheriff will place him under arrest. And things move differently now," is the exact quote. "Things will move differently now." Well, this is differently. They shaved his head. They shaved any of his little facial hair. They put him in a gunny sack or potato sack or so, whatever that is. I don't know. I don't even know what that is. I'm not sure. But that is your little gangster hoodlum there. Quite a far cry from gangster Carmelo Anthony. Please pop that up. Please grab that asset. Gangster Carmelo Anthony, just a few short weeks ago, was flexing in front of the camera. I guess not short weeks, but like years ago. Gangster Carmelo Anthony was in front of the camera, posing with an AK-47, lighter, with drugs, with bricks of cash, flipping off the camera. Boy, gangster Carmelo Anthony was really something. Okay, Klein, there you go. There it is. Look at that. So this is we did the meme. You did the meme. Life comes at you fast. MasterCard. You did the meme. This is the F around Carmelo getting brain rotted. Who bought him the knife, by the way? Who bought him the knife? Carmelo Anthony doesn't work. Who bought him the knife? His parents did. His parents did. His parents created all of this. Let his mind get brain rotted and worn. He was 17. He was 17. He's a product of the environment his parents placed him in. I have kids. I know exactly how this works. You have kids. You know how this works. And Austin Metcalf's a product of his parents. It's like an honorable young man who stood up for what was right. So, this is the F around and find out. It happens, unfortunately, many times a day to young black men. Why is that? I don't know. So here we go. Here's the F around, and then here's the find out. Show us the find out, Klein. There it is. Yeah, there you go. A little different, slightly different rap album. Why? Well, why do we even care? Well, most of the time we don't. Because a guy going to prison killed another black guy. That's the vast majority of black crime in this country is against other black people. Grab the chart that I put up yesterday, please. The vast majority of the crime in this nation is blacks against other blacks. Talking about this problem, which is a horrible and multi-generational systemic problem in our nation, is the best way to solve it. It's the best thing you could do for the black community. Would be to talk about, well, here's the homicide rate per 100,000. U.S. blacks are more violent than virtually any other population on earth. What's going on there? Oh, I'm sorry. Does it feel naughty to say that? Well, it is true. And so you shouldn't be scared of it. You should approach it head on like a man and accept that something's gone horribly wrong. Carmelo Anthony is going to spend 35 years in jail. He deserved a lot more. He deserved the death penalty, of course. We're going to take what we can get. Unfortunately, in our broken and warped society, we're glad to get a scintilla of justice here. There are many places in America where Carmelo Anthony would have been found innocent. And that's very sad. Try doing this. Try doing the same trial in Minneapolis and see what happens. Innocent. Walking out of jail. New pair of tennis shoes. No, this is a huge problem. And by the way, the victims are other black people. So to talk about it is important, and the nicest thing you could possibly do for black Americans is to describe these issues and to say, well, why? I don't have enough time on this program, but it is true. America doesn't have a gun violence problem. It has a cultural problem in certain subcultures. Certain ghettoized subcultures of this nation have extreme violence problems. as perfectly demonstrated by Carmelo Anthony with zero impulse control, stabbing to death Austin Metcalf. So I'm glad that this story went so huge. But this is a story that is told 15, 16, 20, what is the number here? 19 times a day. 20 times a day. It's just that the victim of the shooting or the homicide, the stabbing, happens to be black, and so it doesn't get the same media attention. But it's still horrible. All life is precious. We believe that. It's something that we'll fight for. We want, ladies and gentlemen, the end to the Iran war. We believe that all life is precious. We believe that that this kind of stuff is frankly exhausting. What are the odds here? 6% chance there's an end by June 12th. That would be, well, tomorrow, right? But there's a higher percentage chance that it's ended by the end of this month, June 30th, July 31st, 56%. Okay. Well, that's what the smart money says. My money's on prayer. And it is with a prayer that we'll be heading to Texas tomorrow. And we'll have a exciting time. If you are in Houston, here's what we're going to be doing. We're going to be emceeing a dinner that features Brennan Gill and Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent. And that's going to be sponsored by Patriot Mobile, who are our dear friends and allies, and so in so many regards. So this is where we're going to be tomorrow night, and we look forward to seeing everybody at the Texas State GOP Convention. It's an honor to be there, and then you'll see us. Please follow along because we'll be at the White House for the UFC Battle Royale on Sunday, and we'll be doing some prep work in D.C. on Saturday. So an all-star packed Patriot weekend we're excited for. Our friends at Patriot Mobile, ladies and gentlemen, giving you the best priority service, premium service nationwide. Go to patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT. Use code Benny for a free month of service. That's patriotmobile.com/Benny. Call 972-PATRIOT to make the switch today. That's our show. We out. And we will see you on the flip side on Monday. Here's our verse of the day that we're going to leave you with. 1 Corinthians 6:10. Nor thieves, nor the greedy, nor drunkards, or slanderers, or swindlers will inherit the kingdom of God. The only way to inherit the kingdom of God is through our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. I am the way, the truth, and the life. Nobody comes to the Father except through me, says Christ. That's why we post Christ as King every single morning to remind everyone what we believe. And if the SPLC says that we're Christian nationalists, guilty as charged. Christian supremacist, guilty as charged. This is what being a Christian is, in fact. Like we wish to inherit the kingdom of God. This is the truth and the life. And there's a reason why Christian societies are so beautiful and are flourished when they're properly maintained and cared for. It's something that I thought was so stunning. Hey, Alex, can you grab the clip? It's on my social media. Here it is. Pop this up. Christianity is the single most beautiful religion. Nothing else even comes close. This is from the opening. This is from the opening of that beautiful church in Barcelona that is La Sagrada Familia in Barcelona. Just absolutely stunning, completely gorgeous. Do we have music here? Christianity is the world's most beautiful religion. Beauty, order, cleanliness is close to godliness. Proximity to God. That's where we want you to be. March with us on to victory. It's your boy Benny. See ya.
Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. From the speeches to debates, Benny sharp like a blade. Cutting through the lies, watch the truth cascade. With the warrior's heart, this man never fades. You know it's prime time when Benny invades. From saving the nation to stories untold, the Benny Show's a storm, see the truth unfold. Stay in the loop, let freedom take hold. Salting all the libs, soul never sold. It's the Benny Show, where the truth gon' be. Faith and freedom on your TV screen. Stand up strong, battle through the night. The Benny Show's here, bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light. Bringing liberty to light.